What is up, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to level your lawn in under 5 minutes. Let's get to it. First step is to choose the right material. For my lawn, I'm going to be using masonry sand screened to about 2 millimeters. You can find this at any local landscape supplier. Sand is going to have the best leveling properties as it's non-organic and doesn't break down over time. Depending on your native soil type, you can choose to do a 50-50 sand blend with topsoil as well. I usually spread the sand onto my driveway to help it dry out. This is going to make it much easier to spread onto the lawn. Step 2 is to cut your grass as short as possible and to bag all your clippings. This is not only going to help reveal the low spots in your lawn, but it's also going to make it much easier to work the sand down into the canopy. Step 3 is to aerate the lawn. Now normally I would core aerate, remove all the plugs and backfill with sand. However, this year I decided to use a solid tine aeration. Solid tines cause less trauma to the lawn and I didn't feel like doing an overseed this year. So depending on your grass type, you might want to consider overseeding after this step, not only to help recovery, but also use it as an opportunity to introduce some higher quality grass types and cultivars. Step 4 is to spread the sand onto the lawn. Now there's a few different ways you can do this. You can simply use a shovel and flick the sand onto the grass, use a wheelbarrow and dump small piles, then knock them down. But what I found works best is the OG Landsy spreader. This tool will deposit a thin layer while filtering out any potential rocks. This is one of the fastest ways of getting the material on the lawn without having to rent one of those top dressing machines. Step 5 is to use a leveling rake and to drag it over the grass. Before I get to this step, I usually take some prophylactic Tylenol and Advil because this step is going to bust you up. Using these leveling rakes, you're going to want to push the sand in multiple directions. I made a detailed video on leveling rakes here if you're interested. Essentially, these rakes will knock down the high spots and fill in the low spots. The sand will eventually disappear the more you work it into the lawn. Okay, so this next step is optional, but I highly recommend it as it will help your lawn to recover much faster. Once you're done doing your preliminary leveling with the rake, I get a push broom and I fluff the sand further down into the canopy. This step will also help to stand those grass blades up, mitigating the risk of smothering the grass, which will lead to die-off. Now luckily I have a brush attachment that fits in my lawnmower, so using this I ran the machine over my yard in multiple different directions. So after running the brush attachment over the yard for about 30 minutes, I completely worked in all the top dressing into the canopy. So here's what the lawn should look like after you're done brushing the sand. You can see that all the holes that we made with the aerator are backfilled and the grass is standing back up, not being smothered. Next step, we are going to throw down a bunch of ammonium sulfate. I'm probably going to throw down like 1.5 pounds of nitrogen because I'm going to be watering this thing a lot over the next 3 days to try to really work that sand down to those holes. So that's the next step. We're going to throw down a bunch of nitrogen and then get a heavy dose of water. I got the fertilizer down. Now I'm just going to give it a heavy dose of H2O. So here's what the lawn looks like 2 weeks later. It's recovering well and the color is improving with that heavy dose of fertilizer reapplied, but some spots still need to come in. So let's fast forward 3 weeks post sand leveling and the lawn is fully recovered now, growing in thick and the color is popping. As we get closer to the surface, you can see that the sand has completely worked itself into the soil with no trace left behind. So if you guys are wanting to level your lawn, you basically have 2 options. You can either do light top dressing over years to get it nice and smooth, or just go heavy-handed all at once. There are pros and cons to both, however. If you do light top dressing over time, I recommend about 1 yard per 1,000 square feet. This is going to be the least traumatic to the grass and it's going to be able to recover quite well. Now, if you do decide to go super heavy-handed, you will smother large portions of the grass and it will require major restoration. Anywhere from 2 to 3 yards per 1,000 square feet, depending on how bad your lawn is. So that's basically it, guys. That's how to level your lawn in under 5 minutes. I hope you guys found this one interesting and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.